Hello, and for the three people that watched my last video, welcome back. I hope you're all very well, and obviously if you're watching this it's because you've read the title or some of the tags and interested in what I'm about to show you. I'm a big collectibles fan. I've been collecting for years. I'm in my mid-40s now, so I have managed to amass quite a lot of junk. Managed to scale that back over the last few years though and move more into the statues, 1/6 scale collectibles, the hot toys and other bits and pieces. The piece I'm about to show you is by a Brazilian company, Iron Studios. Oh, just looking at it now, it's wonderful. Iron Studios. Now Iron Studios are primarily statues, polystone statues, primarily in 1/10 scale. So those of you familiar with that scale, it's slightly smaller than the 1/6 obviously, more manageable, takes up far less space, which is great. If you have got 1/6 figures, you know that they just dominate a room. These are great to have. They don't require, obviously, because they're statues, you don't have to pose them either. There's also seems to be less risk of them getting knocked over or falling over or rocking or whatever it is, and the hours and hours it takes to pose these things. They've also got some fantastic licenses. So they do a lot of the DC, a lot of Marvel. They've got some great Star Wars stuff at the moment. Their Jurassic Park stuff is absolutely fantastic. But they've had some of the 80s, sort of throwback to the 80s licenses as well. They've got some Dungeons and Dragons, which are fantastic. I mean, I've actually got over there in the corner, I say they're actually my wife's. They belong to my wife, I bought them for her as a gift. They're amazing. And it's great to be able to buy something that portrays the characters as you remember them, not some sort of updated Netflix version. So and they've done a really good job with those. They also did Thundercats. The Thundercats set is great as well. That had a wonderful light up feature. I like the Dungeons and Dragons. They're all action poses, and it looks brilliant. The great thing as well about Iron Studios is you can display the pieces individually, but they're also made, and I think they're polystone, but they're also made to form a diorama. So you can put them all together in one big lump and they all look fantastic. They all come with little accessories. So Presto will come with some magic potions, other bits and pieces like that. The one I've got today was a Christmas gift from my wife. It was a fantastic Christmas gift. I was surprised today when I walked into the house and she smiled and opened the dining room door and it was there. It was a lot bigger than I thought it was going to be. So she's got it on pre-order. She actually got this through Sideshow, so not direct from Iron Studios, but I've dealt with Iron Studios before and they're just as good. They're great to deal with. They've got a Brazilian site, a North American site, and a European site as well. Obviously, if you're ordering from any of those, just bear in mind that there might be VAT or import duty charges, whatever it is, and sometimes they do weigh a bit and they can be in quite big boxes, so if it's volumetric it might cost you a bit in shipping, but there's such good quality statues, I think it's worth paying the price for that. So like I said, my wife got me this for Christmas, as it was as it was at pre-order, and I'll get it up and show you now. She couldn't actually give me this physically, so she gave me something else instead. But this is the Iron Studios Massive Universe He-Man. It's the Deluxe art scale 1/10 statue. There were two versions of this. There was the regular He-Man, and this one, if I'm not mistaken, comes with a Castle Grayskull diorama that fits behind him. Obviously, because this wasn't available at the time, what she's done is she's found a He-Man figure, I think from the new Netflix series, which I wasn't familiar with, it didn't really interest me, and she's taken that and she's put that in an old shoebox, printed out a background of Castle Grayskull, and then taped him in the pose that this statue was in. And in all fairness, she did a very, very good job, and I was quite impressed. But this finally arrived by DHL. Never have an issue with DHL. If you're watching at home and you have, then obviously that's unfortunate, but I've never really had an issue with them. And a lad I was in school with, one of my friends in school works for them there, so it's always nice to have a chat to him. when he delivers, I won't give you his name in case he ever sees this and gets embarrassed. He might be one of the 3 people that watch my videos. So basically, I've got a really jazzy Japanese knife here. I'm just going to open this and see what it looks like. I don't know if these are still available at the moment. I haven't checked online. They've also done a companion piece to this, which is Prince Adam, and you can have them in the same pose, which I have on pre-order. Not through Sideshow, it was through a UK company. Now this is in all fairness, I wasn't expecting this to be this big. This is quite a unit. So as you can see there, it's just got the Masters of the Universe logo on top, and it just says He-Man. So this might take me some time to get out of the shipper. And it is actually, this is going to be a bit of a nightmare. Nope, it's slowly coming out. Oh, and there it is. Let's stand up. We can watch it drop in all its glory. Wow, look at that. And there it is. There's the box. And that indeed is the statue on the front. It's always handy if you do go into the collectibles market or manufacturing to put a picture of the item on the box so people know what they're buying. There we go, yeah, 10 years of Iron Studios. I've only really been buying this stuff for the last 3 or 4 years, I think. We managed to collect the Dungeons and Dragons ones as they were sort of being released, because they released them in stages. And then we did manage to get a Venger as well, which is a huge piece, but it's absolutely gorgeous to look at. My wife loves Dungeons and Dragons, she really does. It's a big part of her childhood. So that's basically the box. Iron Studios logo on the side. Nice big image there. Same thing on there, and there the back. It is in its entirety with Grayskull behind it, and the door of Grayskull. Sorceress might be there. I don't know. Give it a knock. See what happens. So let's see if we can get this out of the box. I can already see bits of polystyrene, so this is going to be a bit of a any more than actually polystyrene is a nightmare. But there we go. Yeah, that is the size of him. That is a unit, isn't it? I think you'll agree. That's I don't know why, with a 110 scale it can sometimes throw you off, particularly if it's got a large base with it, or a background, or it's part of a diorama. Then it can be quite difficult to discern just how big it's going to be until it arrives. I quite like that sound. Make a playlist of this so people can go to sleep. Let me check it's the right way up. Ooh, it is. Right, so there we go. So we've got the bits and pieces in the box. Always well packaged. I've never ever had an issue with Iron Studios packaging. It is absolutely fantastic. They use a lot of polystyrene, not great for the environment, great for collectibles, but as long as you dispose of it in the correct manner, I'm not going to judge you. So let's get the face out first. Oh my god, it is an absolute ton. Wow. So, oh look, isn't that wonderful, children? So there we go. I think it is polystyrene. It says on the back, it's got this like matting on the back, on the bottom as well, which is great, so don't scratch the surfaces. Just says He-Man Iron Studio Art Scale 110 Deluxe Master of the Universe, under license from Mattel and made in China. That's a surprise. There we go. Sword, shield and skull on the front. There's the skull itself. Looks great. So I'll leave that by there. And then we'll move over here. Now, the interesting thing about the Deluxe version, if I'm not mistaken, is he has 2 poses. So one, he's got his arm in the air for the lightning strike, and the other is, I have the power, and he grabs his sword and pushes it out. I'm sure there's probably a name for that pose. I just Don't know what it is at the moment. So there are his legs. Lovely bit of detail on there. The paintwork's very good. You can see the veins in his legs, obviously. The guy's just completely ripped. A lot of vascularity there. Obviously, he's a high protein, low carb diet type of man. Carbs are my undoing, along with collectibles, as you can probably tell by the shape of me. So basically it's a peg, metal peg and a hole and a slot, guidance slot there, so that should, ooh, nice, fits in, feet are nice and flat as well, so there's no issues with it moving around. It's really, really weighty. I don't think that is going to go anywhere. It's not, is it flat on the bottom? Rocking a tiny, tiny bit, but it's nothing that's going to put me off at all. So, here we go. Sword of Power. That's a lovely one. The sculpt on the hand as well is great. You can see the veins in his hand. The gauntlet there as well. I'll just pop that down on there for now. And then we move on to the top of He-Man. So this is the version with him holding the sword up for the strike. It's got his chest piece there, which is quite nicely brushed. The face is a very good sculpt. Often you get worried with any sort of sculpt. It's the eyes that put me off. It's the same with action figures where you get it and the pupils are a bit off, but that isn't too bad at all. The hair is great as well. It looks like the He-Man that I remember from the Filmation series, which is the most important thing to me. Got his fist there. It's a really good little sculpt actually. So there's that version. Then the other version, as I've said, is him with the holding the sword to his chest. I have the power, which is, again, is very nice. Got some delts on him. Mind, look at the size of that guy. So there we go. So basically they both slot on to the same base. So let's pop him in now. Oh, it's magnetic. Oh my God, that's a hell of a magnet as well. Wow. Like an old car stereo speaker magnet, that. Oh, so there we go. So that's the base there. And then I don't think this is going to be magnetized, but that's got some weight to it. In fact, that might be die cast. In fact, I think it is. There were no instructions in it, but I've got this feels, that's too weighty to be polystyrene or something along those lines. But I'm guessing, oh, this is weird. It doesn't want, wow, that's interesting. That's because I'm using the wrong sword. Interestingly enough, what they've done is there are obviously two versions of the sword. I should have thought of that. And what they've done is they reverse the magnets. So if you try to put the wrong sword in, you can feel that polarity is wrong. Is that the right word? So that won't fit. So obviously, use your sense. This is the version that goes with this, and we slot it into his hand there, and it's magnetic, it just pops in. So wow, there we go. So that's the one version, which is actually, I like that, it's very nice. And we have this other version. So if we take that torso off and pop this one on, sorry, the lighting here is not very good. Move that out of the way. This, the companion piece, Prince Adam piece, is this very pose. So if you manage to get both of them, which I'm lucky enough that I have, I've saved up a bit of money to do that, then you'll be able to display them with the same pose, the before and after, and that to me I think is, I don't know, I think that one probably for me is the best pose. Looking up at this majestic sword, and I'm sure they're die cast. It just feels like it is great. Some great detail on here. There's a bit of wash there, but the veins underneath the skin are fantastic. It looks like they've applied the colour to those first, and then they've gone over with the skin tone. But it is quite weighty. That's not going to go anywhere. It is a great piece. So I'll show you the Dungeons and Dragons now as well, so you get a comparison, but they are in the same scale. So I'll show you those, and we'll have a quick look at that. But this was a reasonable price. I can't remember what it was because it was a gift. And we shouldn't talk about the cost of gifts. It's the thought that counts. Oh yeah, just around the back as well. There's the interior of Grayskull, so that's what the back of the castle door looks like. Yeah, but that's brilliant. I'm really impressed with that. Yeah, so on to Dungeons and Dragons. So this is the Iron Studios Dungeons and Dragons diorama. Now these pieces, as I mentioned, come individually. So you've got Bobby and Uni, Dungeon Master there, Eric, Diana, Hank, and Sheila. Sorry, that's Diana. That's Sheila. Let's get it right. Sheila's the thief. Diana's the acrobat. So like I said, they all come separately, pretty separately, but they all form together to make this wonderful diorama. They've also got quite a few accessories. So I said Presto's got some magic potion bottles there. On Hank's one, it comes with the helmet and also the body, the skeleton of a man chained to the wall, which is great, but there's other little bits and pieces as well. They're all polystone, but they do come with some of the accessories are plastic. So Hank's bow is plastic, and I think this staff is plastic as well. And the other little bits and pieces you can move and add. Presto's hat was a bit of a nightmare to get him in there, but yeah, they all fit together and look like that, which is absolutely brilliant. I mean, the detail on them is really good, and they're as good as you can get for an animated character. They've managed to add a bit of life to them as well without making them too realistic, and it's quite difficult to do that with a flat sort of 2D animated character. And then obviously this is the jewel in the crown of that collection. It's Venger on Nightmare. That's a brilliant bit of detail on him. He's fantastic. He's got a magical orb there in his hand that he's ready to throw. Comes with these little accessories like the helmet. If you spin him around there, what are like mushrooms. There's a sword there, the rocks as well. They all look really, really good. And Shadow Demon there hiding at the back, which actually does need a dust. I only dusted it last week, but we live in a 1930s house that just seems to attract dust like a magnet. But yeah, so it's a wonderful piece. So we've just got them displayed at the moment. We're currently in the middle of moving house, so we've just got them displayed on like this in our dining room, which really I don't think does them justice. So we're hoping to do something else with them. But yeah, that's the collection. So like I said, Iron Studio stuff is great. You get a chance and you can pick these up. There are some on eBay and there's some left on some stores in Europe. I don't know whether like in North America, but this piece sold out rather quickly. We were lucky enough to get one, so the prices on those have risen quite dramatically. But if you do manage to get hold of one at a reasonable price, then certainly do think of it if you're a fan of Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, so that was Dungeons and Dragons. This obviously Masters of the Universe, if you hadn't already figured that out. They are releasing these in stages as well. So there was the Skeletor, there's Merman, Beastman, I think there's a Trap Jaw being released as well. And they're great. Whether I'll have the cash for those, probably won't. It's quite a short window to purchase these, and obviously the cost of them, it can be quite expensive. I haven't got the cash for that at the moment, so I doubt I'll go along with the full line. I was lucky that I was able to get the Dungeons and Dragons. I don't think I'll do the same with this. I didn't with Thundercats, but if I had a choice between He-Man and Thundercats, I'd go with He-Man and I'd go with Master of the Universe every time. Like I said, I'm lucky enough that I've got Prince Adam on pre-order. so I will do that. But if you haven't got anything by Iron Studios, you're not familiar with them, I would say to go and check them out, because they are a very, very good alternative to some of the more well-established sort of statue makers. They're very good, the likeness is very good, the characters are, if you grew up with the original series, they will be as you remember them, and to me, I think that's what's most important at the moment. So yeah, when I get the other one, I'll try and do a video of that. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed a little journey into my pastime of collecting things. And if you have got the opportunity to pick them up, I would definitely recommend that you do so. And I will see you next time, all 4 or 5 of you. Thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your year. Ooh. So basically here he is in a little bit more detail. So yeah, so this, I think this sort of power is die cast. It's really cool. I better be careful, but like I said, the magnets here, just one joint there, one joint. Excuse my long fingernails, but they do well for some of my work. The detail on the face is very, very good. It's the He-Man, I think most of us will remember from the original Filmation series, or as close as you can get from basically what is a flat 2D animated version of a character. But there we go. So the skull's really good. Just looks, it's just excellent. There's detail there on the door. There's some nice colour work on there actually. It's not too over the top. It's quite simple, as you would hope it would be, given the character. There's the alternate torso, which you can swap it out for. Once again, some lovely detail on there. And there is the sword. Just pop that on there. Which is great, so you can have him holding it like that, which is a little bit awkward, or you can switch it out for the alternate pose. I've just dropped it because everything is sticking to it. We just pop that in there and pop that on the end, and there you go. So that's the one version. Drop that off there, be careful with that one. Pop that on there. So obviously he's turned to the side at an angle. I do prefer the other one. I think this is a great pose, don't get me wrong. But I think the other one is the way I'll display it. Like I said, it's got an accompanying piece, the sister piece really, in Prince Adam. So they have the same. So yeah, so we'll take that off. But if you want to be really fancy, I imagine if they both snap on, you can have He-Man wearing Prince Adam's trousers. Should he feel the cold? But yeah, there you go. So that's a bit of it there in more detail. And I'll see you again soon.